Alright, so this video is not scripted at all. And you might notice that because a lot of my words will eventually end up becoming extremely unfocused. But I felt that if I was going to do a Halloween special, I had to do it the only way there was left to do it. Because I was running out of time, and I had an event take place that made it so I couldn't do exactly what I wanted to do. You see, this video was originally supposed to be all about paranormal experiences that I've had in my life. And it was a pretty big video, but due to the time thing that happened, losing the opportunity to record, I couldn't make the video within a reasonable length of time. So as you can tell, I'm doing this to get this done. I don't have time to make a big video. But I also want to do this one little thing, this one little video, because this story is one that I've wanted to tell ever since I made this channel back in 2021. 2021 was originally going to have its own Halloween special that consisted of the exact topic I tried to make this year's video about. And I really, really want to make this video, even if it's just this one story, because this story, as I stated, is one that I really want to tell. So to preface all this, I feel it is necessary to state that while I may be a skeptic, where everything that I see I question, I'm not specifically a skeptic of the paranormal. I've seen too many things to say that all of this is just bogus, right? I've gone through so much with this type of thing, the paranormal and just things you can't explain, that if I were to say that I don't believe, I would be the biggest, fattest liar in the entire world. I have to say that I do believe, but just as much as I believe anything else. I'm not going to just automatically assume that everything taking place happens to fall under paranormality. But with this story, I can't not look at it this way. I would prefer it if I could tell this story as I had always wanted to tell it. And we keep the skepticism to ourselves. It's Halloween. Halloween is not about debunking the scary stuff. It's about embracing it. So here's the story of what I can only describe as the most vivid encounter with anything unnatural I've ever experienced. Or, to put it short, the thing that for some unknown reason I've come to know as the monkey. One day I had to stay home from school. I don't recall why. Could have been for anything. I could have been sick. Could have been no school at all. Could have been a snow day. Could have been something else. I just know that I was supposed to be at school that day and I wasn't. I was laying on the couch, home alone, but not home alone. There was someone there with me, but they were in another room. This other person was my stepsister's, I guess you could say, boyfriend at the time. He was a very nice, pleasant individual at the time. We really didn't see anything too particularly wrong with him. We would later learn that there were things wrong with him, but that is something we will get to. You see, as I was laying on that couch in the living room, which I will draw a layout of the house for reference for this. As I was laying on the couch, I was watching TV. I think I was watching the Kids on Demand channel, and I was watching Courage the Cowardly Dog. Good show. And probably eating like shredded cheese out of a bag or on a plate or something, heathenistic behavior. As I was doing this, something within me told me to look down the hallway. So I did. I turned my head and looked down the hallway. What I saw has never left me. And I don't think there's any way I can describe this other than one of the most unnatural things I've ever seen in my entire life. It was this thing standing in the hallway, leaning through into the hallway from behind a doorway. It's like I can also draw that, to explain what I mean. Probably give a good illustration of what I saw too. This unnatural, horrible creature, just standing as tall as the ceiling would let it, peeking around the corner. I just remember it was almost like a goblin in a way. Just watching, staring me down. It was just so vivid, so horribly wrong. I just kept staring and staring, and it stared back. This unnaturally tall thing, this lanky, disgusting gray creature that just stared me down. We didn't lose eye contact until it retreated. It retreated back around the corner. And from that day, that was probably the most fucking scariest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. No doubt. But what made it worse was what came next. I didn't take my eyes off that hallway. I didn't take my eyes off that hallway once. I just kept staring and staring. I was waiting for that thing to come back. I was just so shooken up. I stared at the laundry room doorway, waiting for it to peek around again, just never taking my eyes off. Until eventually, the boyfriend exits my sister's room. And he just sort of starts idly chatting with me. He sees that I'm shooken up, and I tell him, there's something in the laundry room. I saw something. He doesn't deny, or he doesn't dismiss. He just asks if I want him to go check. And I tell him yes, I would. And so he goes into the laundry room and tells me he saw nothing. There was nothing in there. And that made me feel better. But that didn't make it any less horrifying. What do you mean there's nothing in the laundry room? I saw what I saw in broad fucking daylight. Mind you, the laundry room is directly across from the back door of the house, which has a window on the door. So there's light shining in onto the doorway. Whatever was down that hallway in that room could not have just disappeared. I would have seen it. We all would have seen it. It was so vivid, you couldn't miss it. But it wasn't there anymore. He told me it wasn't there anymore. Or rather, there was nothing at all. And ever since that day, haunting. But what's more haunting is what would follow. Not in the minutes or hours afterwards, but in the months and years following that incident. That boyfriend turned out to be worse than worse can be. How do I put it in words without being utterly shocking? He was an abuser of all ages. He was a abuser of both drugs and people. He was someone who stole drugs from us, stole our medications, stole my medications, the ones that I took at the time because of the various learning conditions that I had, or I suppose, would it be learning disabilities? Things that made it difficult for me to focus at school. I needed those things at the time, or so I thought I needed them. And so I would take them. And, well, turns out he was also taking them. He was stealing them from us. This person, this man, this disgusting human being was everything you don't want a person to be. And even then, he somehow managed to be worse. He's no longer with us, though, because his actions spelled his own demise. But this part, I don't like to do this, but I can't not draw the parallels. Why did I only see that thing when it was just me and him? Why did I see that thing at all? And, you know, after discussing it with plenty of people, I've come to the conclusion that either it was there, and because of his actions that we weren't aware of, it was there because of him. That it was his baggage, the weight that was on his shoulders, his chest, you know. It was his own demon, in a sense. And the reason why I saw it was because it didn't think I would see it. It had no reason to suspect I would see it, you know. Maybe it's never been seen before. Maybe no one's ever paid it any mind, and so it thought it could get away with it because it was just me. And then we saw each other. But I also sometimes think, what if it was the reason he went down the path he did? What if he, by looking for it, by going down the hall to look for it, invited it into its life, or his life? He invited it into his life. You know, I think about that sometimes. I've pretty much concluded that no, that wasn't the cause, but rather he had this thing following him around because he had already made bad choices that would attract something wanting to feed off the pain and misery that he caused, or he was causing himself. And so it just showed up to me because maybe I'm a little bit more sensitive to it or something, or maybe it just thought I could get away with it. Well, I tell you, maybe it did, but it didn't go undetected. You know, throughout the years, I always used to sort of struggle to explain exactly what it looked like. You know, it was a gray creature. And, you know, that's not exactly a descriptive telling of what it's supposed to look like. You know, an alien could be a gray creature. You know, I could be a gray creature. Technically, I'm a black and white creature. You know, that's gray, right? Black and white makes gray. But it's like, I never really had a good visual reference point for what I saw. Until one day I was looking on YouTube just for a video to watch. And this video from, I think it was a channel called Shrouded Hand, showed up. It was about this folktale or myth or urban legend, or just legend in general, about these creatures called the Knockers. I don't remember exactly where they're from, but the idea was that, you know, mine workers would sometimes hear knocking. And whenever they would hear knocking, they knew that was a sign to get out of the mines, because the Knockers are trying to tell you that, like, this shit's about to go kablooey, right? You need to get out of there now before it collapses. You need to get the fuck out, right? That's what it meant. The Knockers. And the thumbnail featured this thing that so disgustingly resembled the creature I remember seeing that it actually made me freeze when I saw it. Here's that image. I don't know what to say, really. It's evident that what I saw was not a knocker. That makes no logistical sense, but it's a visual reference point nonetheless. And as I've stated before, I don't like to attribute the paranormality situation to the reality that someone took a terrible path in life and died as a result of it, because it just feels disrespectful. You know, it's like sensationalizing the dead. I don't like that. But Like, how can I not? After what I saw, how can I not put the pieces together? I'm not here to imply that some scary demon made him kill himself or something like that. But I will say that it's hard not to make a connection when the only time I've ever seen something so vividly was when I was in the presence of someone who was so undeniably detestable. And maybe, in a sense, that thing I saw was symbolic, more so than literal. It's a creature that only shows itself when it thinks it can get away with it, but otherwise hides. Sound like a behavioral pattern that someone might follow? Yeah, I think about that too. So there you have it. That is the most vivid paranormal experience I've ever had. Something that I can't necessarily explain, it's like, I could explain it as, oh, he had a creepy goblin mask and he was like poking his head around the corner to scare me, but that doesn't make any sense. How could he have gone from the laundry room to my sister's bedroom while I was staring down the hallway the entire time? And how come I didn't see the damn mask when he left, It just doesn't add up. Could have been a hallucination, could have been whatever the fuck, I don't know. I just know that it's something that I'll never forget. And maybe on this horribly spooky Halloween night, or, if you're watching this after Halloween, whatever time it is for Christmas, Easter, I don't know. August 8th, 2025. I don't know. Whenever you're watching this. Maybe you won't forget this story either. Just know that no matter what, some things in this world cannot be explained. But until next time, it's Midnight Crick as always. Have a fungus. Oh, right. One last thing, because I just remember this. I think this is an important thing to say. Some of you guys have been saying that it looks like I have an open mouth that looks like surprised or something, and it's like, man, do I really have to explain to you guys what this is? It's not a mouth.